Hi, today join me for a new watercolor painting, and I'm showing you a very fast way of working in watercolors. So hang on, fasten your seatbelts, and let's get going. So literally I do this whole painting in real time, and you can see this video is about 5.5 minutes long. Now there is dry time, and so I don't film that, so sometimes even up to 2 hours of dry time between layers. So there is that to keep into consideration for this project. But mainly, I also just use very simple colors. We got cadmium yellow, got an opera pink, Payne's gray, and cerulean blue, and a transparent earth orange that I often use. And then I do add a pyrrole vermilion at the a little later on for the breast of the robin. So mainly the water is going to do a lot of the work for you instead of tons and tons of brush work in this kind of loose style. Um, the water is just going to fluidly kind of take over. And so it's kind of fun to watch the process, and it's very spontaneous, yet you still have to plan ahead. You have to do the drawing, and kind of I spend a little more time on the drawing part to make sure that it's correct, so that it makes a more convincing painting, especially when you're going to do this real loose, watery, fluid type of painting. So yeah, I work really fast, and you have to plan ahead though, because you need to remember or decide what areas you want to blend and run into each other and be splattery, and what areas you want tight. Like example, the branch, I let that dry before adding the bottom of the bird so that it doesn't just run all over and you know, the branch disappears. And here you can see I'm literally mixing colors on the paper. And this is an Arches cold press watercolor paper. You can see the cerulean blue there. It's not even mixed in, and I'm literally just letting that be kind of undestruct. I forget the word they use in cooking now when it's like indestructed, and it's the wrong word. I can't think of it. But anyway, yeah, so this is a European robin, and I wanted some spring blossoms. And so this is, as you can see, the branch is dry now, but I'm going back and adding the bottom of the bird and the tail a little bit, and just some random splattering. And it's important, again, the most important thing is if there are details, you need to make sure that you have dry paint before you add the details like the eyes, the feet, the beak, because otherwise, and I actually do make a little bit of mistake, I get a little overzealous here, and after I add the eyes, I decide to go over the breast again with another wash, and then one of the eyes starts dripping. So sometimes that can be a really cool effect, but I didn't want that effect on the eye, so I went and blotted it out as best I could. It did leave a little bit of a tear, like he's got a weepy eye, but you know, overall I was still happy with the outcome of the painting and the way the colors and the balance looked. And I think sometimes the splashing, if I feel like it's off balance, sometimes I'll just add that splatter of colors to fill in the areas where I feel like it needs some more color, but I don't necessarily want to add more details like more flowers. Or I'll just like this add like the suggestion of a leaf, but it's definitely not a detailed leaf, because you know, in nature that you're not always looking, you can tell there's a lot of greenery, but you're not necessarily observing all the greenery, all the details of all the greenery. So that was my thought about this, and yeah, just trying to balance out the colors. Now I don't use gouache, except for sometimes I do for highlights instead of, it's just so much easier than trying to leave a highlight on a watercolor eye, especially these very tiny areas, and especially when it's high contrast. So I will sometimes go back and use gouache, either straight white or a lot of times tinted with some of the colors from the painting. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like if you did, and happy painting.